Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You're here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Carlo and Zach. Carlo, happy Labor Day. How was your long weekend?
Yo, yo. It's going, man. It's been a good long weekend, dude. Fantasy football draft kicked off, and kids feeling pretty good about it. Get into that later if you want. But no, all in all, the weather's been absolutely beautiful, so it's been nice spending some time outside. It's awesome. It is awesome. How about you, my friend? How's your long weekend going?
Yeah, I got to spend some time with some family yesterday, had a nice pool session, got to chill, did a fantasy draft as well. I had the first overall pick. I selected Jahmyr Gibbs. Rip on me all you want, but that's who I wanted to go with. The PPR, I figured with those extra receptions and the way the offensive game is going to go, they want to feed the ball more to Gibby, so fingers crossed.
Hey, if they're going to use him more for catches, which they're talking about him lining up potentially as a receiver, I mean, damn, bro, it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick at all.
Hey, reigning champ here, so I'll take whatever I can get. Enough about football, Carlo. We got a lot to go over. We're going to be talking about the Eastern Conference and the NHL, talking about the Atlantic versus the Metro divisions, and just seeing how it aligns with the Detroit Red Wings. If we foresee them making the playoffs. Carlo, before we jump into that, obviously we want to stop and say thanks for joining us on this brand new episode. If you are returning, if you are brand new, thanks for stopping by. We truly do appreciate it. If you haven't already, if you are listening or watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It is free. I know you can do it. You have it in you. It's just by hitting that button, hit that thumbs up button as well. Leave a comment. We love engaging with you guys, and we loved every comment that you guys left on the last video talking about the news and rumors that we mentioned on Friday. If you haven't seen the episode, go ahead and check that out. You can also hit that notification bell that lets you know when these brand new episodes come out. Every Sunday, it is Monday. It is the holiday, obviously, but every single day you will receive a short video from us as well. So we have plenty of content coming out for you guys throughout the whole entire year. You can always find us as well on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can rate us 5 stars and hit that follow button on there as well. And then follow us on all the major social media platforms like the Twitters, the TikToks, the Instagrams, the Facebook, the Threads. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. And let's talk about the Atlantic and the Metro divisions. Let's start off by just talking about what happened last season. Just going over to NHL.com and looking at the 24-25 season final standings. Obviously up here, looking at the Atlantic, you got the Maple Leafs at top with 108 points. Following suit is the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Florida Panthers, the Ottawa Senators, the Montreal Canadiens, taking that final spot with 91 points. The Detroit Red Wings with 86, and then underneath is the Buffalo Sabres and the Boston Bruins. Down to the Metro, you had the Washington Capitals with 111 points, Carolina Hurricanes, New Jersey Devils, taking that last spot in the Metro. Columbus Blue Jackets with 89 points missing out, the New York Rangers, New York Islanders, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Philadelphia Flyers. Carlo, real quick, just to get a question out of the way. Were there any shocks by any teams last season that you thought maybe overperformed or underperformed?
Overperformed. I think Ottawa was probably the one that I don't know if I think they overperformed a little bit. I really don't know if they're going to be able to run that back, but I'm going to go with Ottawa, and for at least for the Atlantic, and then for the Metro, I would say the one that underperformed, I think it's obvious, the Rangers. Like, that was pretty wild what happened there.
Yeah. I'll follow suit with you. I think Ottawa, I don't want to say overperformed or outperformed expectations, but I think the addition of the goaltender, remind me of Linus Ullmark, definitely added quite a few extra points to that team to help elevate them into that first wild card spot. And then heading over into the Metro, I'm very surprised that the Washington Capitals were able to secure that many points and have that much of a lead over a team quite like the Carolina Hurricanes. But also, I would say the Carolina Hurricanes, I think they underperformed, especially when they added someone like Mikko Rantanen in the middle of the year and then traded him again. So I would say because of the 2 trades that they made involving Mikko Rantanen twice, that made them underperform expectations, personally to me. And now we got to deal with.
Checks out.
Now we got to deal with Nhl'S over there down in Carolina this upcoming season instead of with Winnipeg. So we got to face them more this season as well. The division didn't get much easier.
No, it didn't. And that's why I'm kind of, I don't want to say confused, but confused about the Red Wings and what they've done this offseason. I do think they're a little bit of a better team, but when you start looking at the division and you go through every single team that's going to be fighting for the same thing that the Red Wings are going to be fighting for, there's just not enough there to give you too much, confidence. There's not a lot of juice there. So we'll break that down. We'll get into it. But you're right. A lot of teams did get better in the division.
All right, Carlo, let's make over to tiermaker.com where we are going to be ranking the Atlantic and the Metro division teams. As you can see down here, we got all the images of all 32 teams, actually. We got the Utah Mammoth one updated right there. Let's go ahead and start with the Atlantic division. We're going to go up, down in terms of who's going to be first in their division. So we'll start with the Atlantic, then go over to the Metro, figure out who's first there, and work our way down. So let's start with this, Carlo. Who do you think is going to be first in the Atlantic this upcoming season? You look at someone like Toronto, they moved on from Mitch Marner. So can we really see them being first again like they were this past season? Tampa Bay, they're getting older. You look at the Florida Panthers, they're not going to have Matt Tkachuk for quite a bit of time. After all that, who do you foresee being number one in the Atlantic when it's all said and done at the end of the 25-26 NHL season?
Buffalo. Joking. The Florida Panthers. 100% the Florida Panthers are going to be number one. They're too deep. Matthew Tkachuk's out, but they're too deep. Yeah. Who cares? That's the luxury that we all hope the Red Wings have is that, Larkin goes out. We go on a cold streak. That's not happening with the Florida Panthers. I mean, didn't Barkov go out for quite some time and they still were able to pull through and get it done? Barkov's one of their best defensive players too. So I think even with Matthew Tkachuk out, I think Florida, it's their division, 100%.
I kind of said this. I don't disagree with you because I would easily put them at the top spot as well. I even said this last year because I think a lot of people were nervous. Maybe not a lot of people, but I think some were for the Florida Panthers because they looked at how they were playing in the regular season. Then by the trade deadline, they obviously got bigger names like Brad Marchand and a couple other people. So I told people, I was like, I don't think it really matters what you do in the regular season as long as you make it into the playoffs, because the playoffs are a completely different beast. And that's where the Florida Panthers thrive. So that's where I'm a little hesitant. I think the injuries are going to catch up. I think the fatigue of going to 3 Stanley Cup finals in a row is going to catch up to them.
Could.
So I don't see them being first. I think it's going to be Toronto, or Tampa Bay. Personally, to me, I don't know if we can try to find a middle ground here on this, but I think it would be Toronto or Tampa, but I do see your argument with Florida if they can stay healthy, minus Tkachuk, obviously.
Well, I think Tampa, the reason I don't think, I can see Toronto being in the mix for sure. Tampa, the only reason why I can't is because their core is now in that veteran status, and that team is in a position where if the injury bug hits, it's going to hit hard.
Right.
So for that reason, I don't think Tampa finishes first. I'm still thinking between Florida and Toronto. But now Toronto obviously stacked offensively. We know that even with the loss of Marner, we know that Matthew Nhl'S is going to take another step. That guy's unreal.
Yeah. That's your Marner replacement.
So for me now, I look at the Toronto Maple Leafs and I think, okay, which defense would I rather have and which goaltending tandem would I rather have? Stolarz is sick. Florida's going to win the defensive category without question. They play defense as a 5-man unit, shift after shift. Toronto doesn't do that. I don't think Toronto can do that. That's kind of why I think Florida has the edge for me, because of the way they play. Both really well coached teams. For me, their depth, Florida's depth is just way beyond Toronto's, and that includes defense and goaltending.
Yeah, and I think for this exercise, we can't obviously foresee the future and say X, Y, and Z player is going to be out, like Barkov or Tkachuk. We obviously know he's going to be out, or if someone else is going to be out. So for this exercise, looking at it on paper and expecting all players to play a full 82-game season, I think I would agree with you that I would probably go Florida Panthers as the number one team in the Atlantic Division this season. It just makes the most sense. They're the most stacked on paper. You look at the forward end, I think you're just as on par with the Toronto Maple Leafs, if not maybe just a little underneath that, only because of the star caliber players that they have on the forward end for Toronto.
Yeah, you're probably right. The offense and the the firepower Toronto has might be a little bit better than Florida's when it comes to like individual talents and skills. But then the whole other part of the game, the defensive side of the game, Florida's takes that over Toronto, and that's why I think that's what gives them the edge.
I'll agree with you on that, 100%. Let's move over to the Metro and start this conversation.
Okay.
Because like we just showed, Washington Capitals, they blew away the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. Granted, like I mentioned, Carolina Hurricanes, they had the whole Mikko Rantanen situation for that was for about a month and a half. So that maybe that spoiled them a little bit throughout the season. They had that weird in-between time where the locker room doesn't know what's going on. Coaching staff may not know what's going on, and they're trying to figure out a different system with a Mikko Rantanen than without the players that they had to move on from, and then the players they had to add as well. New Jersey, yeah, they had injuries, a lot of injuries throughout the season as well. But Columbus Blue Jackets, Carlo, they could be a team that makes a step up. But who do you see being number one in the Metro? Do you think it's going to be the Washington Capitals again with Alexander Ovechkin entering his, what is this, year 20 for him? Or 21, 22?
I don't know. Yeah, it's 20 or above for sure. I think Carolina is going to be the
20,
number one team.
20
in the
NHL
season. Is it 20? This is his 20th, eh? Wow. I think Carolina takes the top spot. I'm looking very, very much at the addition of Ehlers and the addition of Keandre Miller.
Yep.
Still chaps me because, I really wanted Keandre Miller. But anyways, Carolina, I think, takes the number one spot. Like they address their depth so well.
Yeah, I don't even have an argument for you there. I would agree with you that they would take the top spot for sure over there in the Metro. And just looking at it, just for comparison against the Washington Capitals, they didn't really make too many off-season changes. You got some younger players, obviously, on that team that you hope take another step. But obviously, you're getting older as well with players like Ovechkin. You don't have TJ Oshie anymore. Carlson.
They got Chikrin.
It's not the worst, but I would agree with you there that it's probably the Carolina Hurricanes that took that huge step in the offseason where they really needed to, because how much longer do we believe that their Stanley Cup window is open here, Carlo?
I don't see I think their window's open, obviously, and I don't really see it closing in the next couple of years. Like, I think they're going to be relevant for quite some time with the players that they have and their age. It's just a matter of them getting past the that round that they can't get past. But anyways, I think they're going to be relevant for quite some time.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah, and I think that their window, it extends a little bit by adding in Ehlers and Keandre Miller. But without those moves, their window was closing. You got Andrei Svechnikov, who had a really down season, last couple down seasons. So adding in Nikolai Ehlers, that's going to help him out. It's going to help out that whole entire forward group, Keandre Miller, that whole defensive group, and then goaltending as well. Back to the Atlantic Division, Carlo, it sounds like Toronto would be the next team up from there, correct? I mean, we talked about their offensive star power up there, their defense maybe got a little bit better, but their goaltending is pretty stellar with Stolarz over there. So I would definitely put them at the number 2 spot.
Yeah, I have no objections to that. That makes total sense to me.
The Metro Division going over to number 2 there. I think I would put the New Jersey Devils there, but only if they had Luke Hughes contracted up, which they don't currently. Steve Yzerman, if you're watching this, go after Luke Hughes somehow, some way. I know it's going to cost a lot, and then you're going to have to pay him as well, but I would love to have him and Simon Edmondson manning that whole entire left-handed D side. But yeah, I would make the argument it would be the New Jersey Devils. I think they have really strong offense up front. I think they're a well-stacked team. Their defense is pretty good too. They just have to lock up Luke Hughes. And their goaltending really isn't the worst either. I wouldn't say it's the greatest, but it's definitely not the worst. Going back over to Washington, they're getting older. They have some young good players, but I wouldn't say anyone that's super game changing outside of Alexander Ovechkin.
Yeah, I echo everything you said, dude. For me, it's definitely the Devils. I think their young core is growing quite quickly, and they've addressed their goaltending as well. I think that's an easy number 2 for me. Granted that these young bucks can stay healthy, which we're assuming that everybody's kind of going through that. I think New Jersey's for sure the number 2 spot there. That's a great call.
I think number 3 for the Atlantic Division is where it starts to get a little bit tough. The Red Wing fan of me, yes, we're obviously Red Wings fans, if you guys haven't been able to tell based on our backgrounds and everything.
No idea.
Bias aside, I really want to put the Suns here because I think Tampa Bay, as the seasons continuously go on, they start to dwindle down more and more. The Ottawa Senators, they have young talent. It's the same thing. We literally just said it for the New Jersey Devils. Trying to put the bias aside, it fits the same bill for the Ottawa Senators, who technically did get a little bit better this offseason.
They did, but we're talking about Gensel, Kucherov, Braden Point, Anthony Cirelli. I'm giving the edge to Tampa for me. They also have Coop. I think Tampa's got to take the edge on that. I look at their goaltending parallels, Vasilevsky, Allmark, probably taking Vasilevsky. Like, I'm just thinking, who would I draft? Vasilevsky. And then you just go through their center depth. I think Tampa gets the edge on that. Defensively, I think it's got to be Tampa, dude, over Ottawa. And I'm not trying to say that as a Red Wing fan who dislikes the Ottawa Senators. I'm just trying to be as unbiased as possible. But I think for me, it would go Tampa, and then it would absolutely go Ottawa. But what were you thinking, Ottawa and then Tampa?
Yeah, only because I look at the age, I look at the way Ottawa plays. I've never said this before, and I'm just saying it for the record, and people can scrutinize me if they want. Probably Red Wings fans will. Maybe Ottawa Senators will love this.
Please do. Just go for it.
I think Ottawa Senator fans will love when I say this. If we took away the Senators logo off of all the players on the Sens and we put Red Wings logo on all those jerseys, we would love that team. We would love that team to be our team. They're a fun team to watch. When we hate
they
to
are
play
a fun
against
team to watch.
They're essentially like the Florida Panthers, but the Walmart version, and in a non-disrespectful way. They get a lot of penalties. They get underneath the skin of their opponents, and they can score, but they get penalized a lot.
I can get behind that. The only thing for me, I just feel the way Tampa has established themselves, their experience, obviously their players, their coaching. I still think they get the edge. I think
they don't have Blashill anymore either.
Oh, then that's an obvious Tampa Bay's number 3 for sure.
And there were those comments too that Tampa players weren't thrilled with when Blashill entered, and he kind of just took over the room almost and just destroyed that whole entire system. I feel bad calling out Blashill like that, but that's the truth. That's what some Tampa players were saying. So maybe they do improve. Maybe I'm wrong, but I agree with you. If we're looking at it on paper based on names, experience, it would probably have to be Tampa if everyone was healthy. Remember, we're going to go based on that. So I'm going to go Tampa. And just for the sake of it, Carlo, maybe we just stick there. Would you go the Suns at number 4 for the Atlantic?
Yeah, I would. Yes, I would.
Okay. Over to the Metro. I think, I don't know. I think it's Washington. I can't foresee Columbus or any of those other teams. I know some people say the Rangers are going to be better this year. I don't know how they get better. I don't understand that. Let's actually talk about this maybe for a second. Do you foresee a chance that Columbus or New York has a chance to pass Washington Capitals for that 3rd spot?
No, I think Washington's the easy answer there.
I mean, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they had a Charlie Coyle who could be a fine 3rd line center for them. Then you got the Rangers. They added Gavrikov. You loved Gavrikov, but they lost Keandre Miller. But that's the replacement for it. So that's why a lot of people think that the New York Rangers are going to be a little bit better. Panarin's on I believe that this is his last year of his contract. He could be looking for an extension, but he's older, obviously. They still got Vincent Trocheck, who is, I would say, one of the better second-line centers in the league. I think he does really well for himself. Could we see a resurgence of the New York Rangers, especially after getting rid of Trouba and some other players throughout the offseason last year.
I don't know. The Rangers are kind of a weird one for me. I don't know. I don't know what exactly it is. They got Mike Sullivan. They've definitely done some overhauling on their defense for sure. But I feel like there's just uncertainty still around like the longevity of this roster. Like what's the makeup of this team look like next year and the year after that? Like I don't even know if they know. So like I feel like there's uncertainty there. Like Panarin, for example. Now that doesn't really have anything to do with this year, but man, Washington is just like this machine. It's well oiled. They're really well coached. New York's got better goaltending, I think. I mean, although Washington, Thompson and Lindgren, they're outstanding. Dude, this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one. I think I'd put Washington finishing above New York. I think I'd go Washington, New York. If it's not New York and Washington, I'd go Washington, New York.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there. I think it's very close, but I would say that the Capitals have the edge. And I know that we're trying not to put injuries in here, but I think the New York Rangers, yeah, I think they're one injury away from
catastrophe,
just kind of wiping it all out for the whole
kind of
season.
Similar spot Detroit's in. Like they're very, I don't want to say fragile, but they're just not. I don't know if they're deep enough.
That was the word I was going to use, so you took it out of my mouth.
Yeah, okay, we can go with that. I think the upside though with Detroit is they're younger.
Exactly, that's the difference.
Yep.
So I agree with you there. Let's just do number 4. Would you say it's the Rangers or would you say it's the Columbus Blue Jackets?
I said I'd go New York, and I'm going to stand by that.
I think I would still give it over to the New York Rangers, although I do believe that Adam Fantilli can take a bigger step this upcoming season. Don't get me wrong. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are very close to what Detroit is, but maybe just a little step below. Maybe they'll be equal this season. You just truly never know, but I think that the Rangers are above the Columbus Blue Jackets just based on the names and the way that the team is structured. So I would definitely go and follow suit with you that the New York Rangers would be the 4th team in the Metro Division. I would not say that these are the locks for the playoffs, Carlo, just to let everyone know that is watching or listening to this. So far right now, what we have is for the Atlantic Division, Florida Panthers at number 1, Toronto Maple Leafs at number 2, Tampa Bay Lightning at number 3, and the Ottawa Senators at number 4. Over to the Metro, Carolina Hurricanes at 1, New Jersey Devils at 2, Washington Capitals at 3, and the New York Rangers at 4. So let's go back over and finish out these divisions, and then we'll try to figure out at the end who makes the final cut for the playoffs. Who do you got 5th for the Atlantic Division? I think now is kind of where it gets a little tricky. But as a Red Wings fan, I would say Detroit.
So would I.
It's just really difficult especially with what the Montreal Canadiens did. They added Noah Dobson. They're getting Demidov this upcoming season too. Another Russian phenom coming into the NHL, making their mark this upcoming season. They got Cole Caulfield. They got plenty of other names on that roster as well. So make the argument as to why, as Red Wings fans, let's make the argument why we believe the Red Wings would be over Montreal.
Well, for me, they have a young core. So they have veterans. They have a young core with experience. And then they have an even younger group in Albert Johansson, Marco Kasper, Simon Edvinsson. I think it's Detroit. They address their goaltending. Their defense, I don't know exactly how that's going to even look yet, but there's going to be a ton of different looks there. Plus, there's going to be some big steps made by multiple players, and I'm even including Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond into the players who have the room to take another step outside of the even younger guys and like the guys I just mentioned. Yeah, I would put Detroit there. And my hot take, I think I said it in one of the group chats last week, I think Montreal regresses this season. I don't know why. That's just my off-the-cuff thought. I think Montreal takes a bit of a back seat this season.
The one thing that sticks out to me about Montreal, just looking at last season, they were the only team, was one of 2 teams to make it into the playoffs that had a minus goal differential, and they had the worst of the two. They were at a minus 20. Minus 20 goals compared to their goals for, and they still made the playoffs with 91 points, 40 wins, 31 losses, and 11 overtime losses. 11 compared to the Red Wings 8. The Red Wings had 39 wins and 35 losses. And also remembering the Detroit Red Wings from the start of the season all the way until Christmas, Carlo, they were almost dead last. They had a very, very rough season. And with new coaching staff that you can fully implement their system, because they weren't able to do that at all in the middle of last season.
I can't believe how quickly they actually turned the team around outside of that one game against Toronto. Like, that was game one, like the next day. So that's a scratch. But from there on, like how quickly these guys came in and was able to turn it around, that gets me fired up, man. That really does. Because now it's like imagining what you can do when you're taking the reins on camp and everything like that. So, yeah, for me, it's Detroit. And I'm not even trying. That's not even a biased opinion. I think it's Detroit.
I'm just going to read off the Red Wings fans that are watching this. And you guys kind of know what the Red Wings lineup is going to look like. I'm just going to read off what the Montreal lineup is going to look like. Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Bolduc, Doc, Demidov, Laine, Newhook, Kapanen, Gallagher, Evans, Anderson. On defense, it's Gooley, Dobson, Hudson, Grubel, Matheson, Carrier. And then their goaltending is Montembeault and Dobe, Jacob Dobe. I think that's how you pronounce it. But Dobe. I would say our goaltending is better. I like our goaltending. I think people are severely sleeping on John Gibson. I really do. I think people are really sleeping on him. He was on a really bad Ducks team for a really long time. I think Simon Edvinsson takes a step. Albert Johansson takes a step. Marco Kasper takes a step. We eventually might see players like Nate Danielson, Carter Mazur, maybe a couple other along the way as well. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I wouldn't say a regression for the Montreal Canadiens. I think that they would still be relatively around where they are. But yeah, I look at this roster. They have very little veteran leadership on this team. You have Mike Matheson. I wouldn't say Carrier is a veteran. You got Brendan Gallagher, Patrick Laine. That's
the veteran leader on the Montreal Canadiens is their head coach, Martin St. Louis. That's the veteran leader on that team.
So that's about it. Yeah. So it's very tough. I think, how would you, now let me ask you this question. If you were to do a 7-game series between the Red Wings and the Montreal Canadiens, who comes walking out with 4 wins? If you're trying to be unbiased as possible.
I think Detroit would come out with 4 wins, but it'd be in 7 games.
I think, yeah, I think I would agree with that, and I think it would come down to goaltending at that point. I think our forwards
there would be like 3 overtimes.
I think Montreal has the scoring capabilities. I don't think that they have the defensive skill quite like the Detroit Red Wings will have, especially on the special teams. The Red Wings had a really good power play. Granted, they had a really bad PK. I think that's going to be a huge turnaround. I think that it can be right in the middle, maybe 10 to 15 this upcoming season. That's a huge surplus for us, and that's going to help us get extra wins for sure. Create less goals going into our own net. I'm sorry, Montreal Canadian fans, and we want to hear from you guys what you guys think of this so far, these standings. But Carlo, for this exercise, yeah, we're going to put the Red Wings, and then we'll put Montreal right after that. So the Red Wings get the 5th, and then Montreal gets the 6th. And we've seen in other people's projections, too, that the Montreal Canadiens technically take a back step as well.
Yeah. I mean, Detroit has such an interesting balance when you compare the two of actual veteran leaders. James Van Riemsdyk, Patrick Kane, do we call DeBrincat and Larkin veterans at this point? I think we have to.
Yeah.
So you look at that, Ben Sherratt, veteran leader. They got a lot of players around that room that have some experience, whereas Zach pointed out, Montreal really doesn't. So that's it. I mean, that's enough said there. That's where we can move on. That's pretty obvious to me, I think. Mind you, things need to go well. And for Red Wing fans listening, you know why. And you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to the injury bug and over-indexing and slotting people correctly. But anyways, I think keeping in the Atlantic, the next two choices are quite easy.
Yeah, finish it up from here. I'll let you take the floor. Yeah, finish it up.
I think it's going to be Boston, Buffalo.
Yeah, which is so, I would make the argument because I really do like Buffalo's defense. I really don't think their offense is that bad. I would make the argument there. Why do you believe it would be Boston over Buffalo? Just based on goaltending?
Yep. It's still the Boston Bruins. So definitely yes, goaltending. Buffalo is just, I don't know what they're doing, dude. I don't know what Buffalo's doing. I don't think anybody knows what Buffalo's doing.
It could be one of those situations where they're, and I hate to say this, but testing the waters to see how this season will go. And I hate to say that because I do actually feel for Buffalo Sabres fans because they get really nice, shiny toys. They get the first overall picks. They get the second overall picks. They get these really good players in the draft somehow, some way. Draft steals, so to say. But they just can never figure it out. And I really do feel for their fans. It's painful for them. I really do want to make the argument that they can actually be better than the Boston Bruins. But with their goaltending and Swayman and then obviously David Pasta, you can't discredit him. Charlie McAvoy as well, stud defenseman, top 10 defenseman in the league. Personally, to me, I think he's just a stud. But all right, yeah, that's your Atlantic Division. So reading it from the top is the Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs, Tampa Bay Lightning, Ottawa Senators, Detroit Red Wings, Montreal Canadiens, Boston Bruins, Buffalo Sabres. Let's finish out the Metro here, Carlo. It's obviously got to go the Columbus Blue Jackets right here, right? I mean, that would be the fifth team. I don't know how you can make a different argument there.
So between
Philadelphia might make a crack at it, maybe.
Yeah, there's Philly, there's the Islanders, there's Pittsburgh, there's Columbus.
I just don't know about the Islanders because they don't, outside of Barzal and then Sorokin, they got Sorokin. Those are really the only two young players that they have on their whole entire team that are under 30 years old or not on a really bad contract.
If we're assuming health holds up here for everybody in this exercise, I think I'd put the Islanders there.
You also got to think about the subtraction of Noah Dobson. I think that's going to be a huge hit.
Yeah, it's a good call. You're thinking Columbus. I mean, for me, I'm seeing either Columbus Islanders or Islanders Columbus. But then there's Philly, dude.
I look at Columbus, and I remember what Michael said. They have that really young goaltender that should be up and coming. He did really good for them last season.
Yes.
They have a couple other players too, but I have huge hopes in someone like Adam Fantilli. I'm still shocked that he didn't go second overall in the 2023 draft. I'm still shocked by that. They also have, who is it? I think it's Caden Lidstrom that they drafted recently. That's going to be playing at MSU by the time he's done with that season. Maybe he makes the jump over to Columbus. I kind of want to go Columbus, to be honest. But we haven't even talked about Pittsburgh. They still got Crosby. They still got Malkin, Ricard, Raquel, Carlson, all those guys. So this one's really tough. If it were me, Carlo, just to kind of get it out of the way, I would probably go Columbus, Pittsburgh, Islanders, and then Flyers. Yeah, would you switch those around?
I think I'd put the Islanders ahead of Pittsburgh. I think I would do that. What is that? I mean, I like Columbus there. Philly there makes sense. There's going to be some growing pains there. It's really a toss-up between the Islanders, Pittsburgh, or Pittsburgh and the Islanders. What do you think?
I kind of almost want to put Pittsburgh last, only because if they don't trade, because it's no secret, they're the only team that's selling out of the whole 32 teams in the NHL. If by the trade deadline they trade one or a couple of Raquel, Rust, or Carlson, I could see them being last.
Which, yeah, we don't know.
So it's tough to even insert something like that into this experiment that we're doing right now currently. I just don't think, I mean, Philly, they added Zegras. You're adding Mitchkov. Well, not adding him, you already had him, but yeah, they're going to be fun, but I don't think they quite get it done. But I can see the Islanders. I think that even without Noah Dobson, they still play a really heavy defensive style of game. Really boring.
I think it's going to come down to literally overtime losses for that position.
Ranking. Between the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Flyers, I think that's a toss-up. I think that's more than fine. We can leave that like that, Carlo, right?
Yep.
Just for the sake of this.
Yep.
Obviously, in the comments, let us know what you think about those final three or this whole entire Eastern Conference standings, both the Atlantic and the Metro divisions. Carlo, let's go ahead and decide who's going to make the playoffs, and then we'll wrap up this episode. So for the Atlantic, the top three spots are Florida, Toronto, Tampa for the Metro, Carolina, New Jersey, and Washington. So who are the two wild card spots? So at number 4, you have the Ottawa Senators and the New York Rangers. And then at number 5 spots, you have the Red Wings and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So those 4 are going up against, or maybe even you can throw in Montreal in there too. Who knows? But who do you foresee of those 5 teams? Let's just include those 5 teams: the Sens, the Red Wings, Canadians, the Rangers, and the Blue Jackets. Who do you foresee taking the 2 spots? For me, you have to include the Sens in there. I think they're the better team of the other 4. And then from here, I think it would be very close of a toss-up. It's too tough for me to say because the Red Wing fan of me obviously wants to say the Red Wings, but I think it's going to be so close. But if we're projecting a whole 82-game full healthy season from all the teams, I think it would be between the Red Wings and the New York Rangers. Personally.
I'm right there with you, and I think the Rangers take the edge.
I kind of think they would as well, and it's very unfortunate to say that, but yeah, I think the final wildcard spots would be the Ottawa Senators and the New York Rangers, but this would be, just talking about it as a Detroit Red Wing fan, that this would be ultimately, and Steve Yzerman has to approach it this way, this would absolutely be the last season that we miss out on the playoffs. And assuming that they didn't do anything at the trade deadline, any of these teams, this is assuming they don't do anything to improve the team because we can't account for that. We don't know how it's going to look. And then that's when Steve goes into the offseason and says, I need to insert Connor McDavid, Kyle Connor, any one of these big name players, Jack Eichel, someone to get us over that hump. And it's not just for the sake of getting us over that hump, but because we would be in that window where now we can go out and sign players for the 6 to 8 year deals coming out of free agency. It's that time. So if this is the way that we projected to go, where the Red Wings miss out on the playoffs, how upset are you about that, Carla?
Well, upset, I don't know. Disappointed for sure. I mean, I'm kind of assuming we're doing this exercise right now, and I just said the Rangers have the edge. So, if the Red Wings do miss out on the playoffs, am I upset? I mean, the fan in me is upset, but I think the word's disappointed because there just wasn't enough urgency in the offseason to get something done. But then when you really, unravel that, peel that one back, that could be for the best because, again, we talked about it so many times where, you're not going to make a move to make a move because right now we're in a spot where a move that we would make to get a better player would create another void in the lineup, right? I think we can all agree on that. We moved Marco Kasper to go and get a top line left wing. Well, now we have that hole again in the 2C spot, etc. So we're just not at that point. So when you start to unravel that and think about that, it kind of calms your nerves a little bit. But, I think disappointed would be the word, but I think I'd be understanding too, because I kind of get the DNA of this team right now and what it would take to get there. And it would take us creating more holes in the lineup. So we got to be patient, man. I think that's exactly what Steve Yzerman means when he told people to be patient 10 years ago. I think, tick-tock, the clock's definitely ticking. Like he needs to go and do something. And, he could very well be waiting for the offseason next year because of that crop of players that are available. And at that point, I mean, that's kind of in line with what I've been saying. The 26-27 season, this team is going to be I hate to say the word contender, but they're going to be up there, man. They're going to be really, really solid. That's kind of in line with that. I still stand by that. 26-27 for me is when I would be upset if they missed. At that point, I'd be very upset, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, but for this year, disappointed, but understandingly disappointed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And it all comes down to, I mean, it very well for this exercise, I think we could say it's going to be very similar to the Red Wings 2 years ago where they miss it because of a stupid tiebreaker. It very well could come down to a situation like that. because in this exercise, we're saying every single team has their players healthy for a full 82 game season. It very well could come down to that, because we mentioned in this exercise, if the Red Wings played against Montreal in a 7-game series, it would go full 7 games. Probably the same thing with the Rangers, and we would lose to them in the 7-game series on the 7th game in double overtime. It could come down to that.
It could go either way. It really could go either way. 50-50 on it. Like 51-49 in favor of the Rangers. But who knows? We all could be surprised. Todd McClellan could do something with these guys, and these guys could play a little bit harder for Todd. There's a lot of different variables that could pan out for us. Trying to be realistic, like we are with the Rangers kind of taking the cake on that one, but I'll leave it with we could be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, sir.
My final thoughts are, this is it. Hope you guys like it. Obviously, let us know down in the comments what you thought about this episode. Let us know what you think that the Atlantic and the Metro Division will look like. Who you think is going to sneak in and take those wild card spots. Carlo, final thoughts from you, buddy.
Final thoughts from me are go Lions, go
Lions.
Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Don't go Bears, but go Wings.
Da Bears. Boo. Go Wings. I agree. Don't forget about the Pistons.
Oh, yeah, that's true. The Pistons, too. They're coming. That time of year is coming as well.
Yeah, other than that, thanks for joining us on this brand new episode. Once again, if you are returning, if you are brand new and made it to the tail end of this episode, we truly do appreciate it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Please just go ahead and do it. It's free to click that button.
Helps a lot.
Let us know in the comments that you did that as well. We always appreciate that from you guys. We love that you guys do that. Also, hit that notification bell, hit the thumbs up on there. If you're watching or listening to us on Spotify, you can do both. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, rate us the 5 stars and hit that follow button. Follow us on all the social media platforms as well, the Twitters, the X's, the TikToks, the Threads, the Facebooks, the Instagrams. And until next time, we'll see y'all on the next one. See ya. I love you. Bye.
Later.